Guan Yu has officially been pushed out of the infantry meta. He is no longer a second priority commander. But where does he stand in 2024 and the new year 2025 as we approach December and move into January? In this video, I will be talking about Guan Yu, his possible viability pairings that he still has, how you can get use of him, what type of player should still use him, as well as I will also be discussing the new infantry meta, Ragnar Prime. What's up YouTube, this is Lizard Jesus bringing you guys another Rise of Kingdoms video. So, in this video we're going to be discussing about the new infantry skill damage meta, as well as a little bit about Smite. For new players that are entering the first KVK3 and they're transitioning into Season of Conquest, and you want to run an infantry march, you're either going to do one of two things. You're going to do a Ragnar Prime with Scipio Prime, Ragnar Primary if you want to deal just flat out more skill damage from the skill tree, Scipio Primary if you want to tank your commander that can navigate throughout the open field better, going from resource point to resource point. Or what you're going to do is you're going to run a Liu Che with William Wallace or Liu Che with Alex. In my case, I don't have either of those commanders, so I'm running a double relic Constantine with Liu Che, as Constantine's double relic gives a nice normal damage boost. So, that's what you're either going to do. You're going to either run a Ragnar or Scipio, Liu Che Wallace or Liu Che Alex. Now, this puts Guan Yu in a third priority when it comes to infantry commanders. So where do you use him? How can you get use from him? What viable pairings does he have? Well, truthfully, I still think there are a few pairings that you can get out of Guan Yu that you can find good reports from. But before we get into that, we're going to go over a little bit about Guan Yu. He's dealing a 2000 AoE target with his silence, march speed, infantry attack, a small healing factor, and a little bit of extra damage when he hits some targets. There is one thing that I recommend players grab if you are using Guan Yu, and that is his relic. His relic is very good. It's very good. It's giving him the one stat that he does not have, and that is infantry defense. If you are using Guan Yu, or you're an older player who is still planning on using him for a while, I suggest you grab this relic. But before we get further into this video, for the new players that are watching, I'm just going to tell you, I suggest you straight up do not even touch Guan Yu at all anymore. He's fallen out of meta and he's just not that good anymore. His silence is overrated, but let's get more into that. So, before I get into the pairings of Guan Yu that I still think have some viability, we're going to get into the pairings that I think are just not good anymore. They're retired and I suggest players don't touch them at all. Guan Yu with double relic Mehmed. When Mehmed's double relic came out, it was really good. It was just a basic skill damage commander with a chunky 30% health, a little bit of skill damage boosted that you could put behind any skill damage commander. The problem with this commander nowadays is that Mehmed just has no march speed, and even at his expertise, the damage he's dealing isn't really that good. It's okay, and when I say okay, I mean it's like super okay. He's got no march speed, it's a small AoE. He's really these days just a stat stick. He's just a stat stick. He's just a little bit of skill damage boost for your primary commander and 30% health. The extra troops from Mehmed you're only going to be getting if his last skill is maxed out. So Guan Yu double relic Mehmed I think is retired and just not good anymore. This is one of the, I guess you could say, better options for the old pairs. You might still be able to get away with using him in some situations, but I wouldn't recommend it. Guan with double relic Charles. Guan with double relic Charles. Charles is putting a shield behind Guan Yu that's going to let him use his silence longer. And although that is true, unfortunately the performance that Charles has behind Guan Yu overall is just okay, and that's where it lies. It's really okay and it's not that great. It's a pair that I suggest players not touch. It's retired. Guan with Leo. Leonidas is just too outdated. It's too old. His relic is underpowered. The damage he's outputting is terrible these days. And having 30% health for 3 seconds on every active skill is just, it's not tanky enough to really keep Guan Yu alive. It's not a good pair. It's done. Guan Herald does not work together at all. Herald needs a tanky commander. Guan with CJ. This is an old infantry meta, and I'm sure some people might like to believe that they can still use it if they're a CJ fanboy, but unfortunately, it's just too outdated and it's not very good anymore. Although CJ does have some nice skill damage taken reduction, and the cooldown on it is very short, and CJ's expertise is also one of the underrated expertises, giving him an AoE that can trigger at any given time. Well, any 3 seconds. A 2000 single target damage factor just does not cut it these days, especially since it's only 2000 single target damage factor if the enemy troops are under 30% health. Sargon is a Canyon commander. He's not that great in the open field from what I hear and what I see. You need to stay on target for the full duration of his active skill. 5 seconds is a long time to stay on target. A lot of the open field combat is running back and forth, but Sargon is good in Canyon, but I don't recommend players to use it with Guan Yu. Unfortunately, any smite damage commander just doesn't really work well with Guan Yu. I tried my Guan Yu with my Liu Che, and it does not perform good, man. It really is not good. My Constantine does better with Liu Che than my Guan with Liu Che. Guan really needs that skill damage pairing. So those are the commander pairings that I think are just not good on Guan at all whatsoever. Any way, shape, or form in any case scenario, just leave it at that. We're going to be moving into the pairings that I still think are good for Guan Yu, and pairings that you can still get good reports from Guan Yu. The first and most obvious pairing is going to be Skippy. I think Guan Skippy is a commander pairing that you can still run. You will still get good reports. In some cases, you're probably going to get great reports, actually. The only thing is that you're either going to run Skippy with Ragnar, or you're going to run Skippy with Liu Che if you're running Ragnar with someone else. So Guan Skippy is a pairing that will still be good. Guan Ragnar. I tested this out. This pair does have some good moments. However, like I just said, you're either gonna run Skippy with Ragnar, or Ragnar with Skippy. So there's no point. Alexander the Great. Alexander the Great is a commander that I think still has good viability with Guan Yu within reason. If you grab Guan Yu's relic, you grab Alexander's double relic. Now you have 30% defense on that march, and with Guan Yu's expertise, you're still going to get benefits from Alex's shield followed by his instant proc, along with an amazing debuff and great march speed from Alexander the Great. So Guan Alex is a pair that I still think has viability. The last commander that I think still has viability with Guan Yu, and I'm speaking from experience as I ran this, my last KVK, is Honda Tadakatsu. Honda Tadakatsu is bringing a massive AoE, extra troops, a skill damage boost as battle goes on, which is nice, good march speed, as well as a really underrated expertise. This expertise is actually really good against Liu Che's, as Liu Che's has a chance to trigger a basic attack at any given time. So Guan Honda is a pair that still has viability. Overall, the time for Guan Yu is over. As we shift into 2025, I am benching Guan pretty much completely. The only place I use him now is Canyon. His silence is overrated, his damage is mediocre, his lack of defensive and health stats is making it super painful to keep him alive for a while. And there's just so much better options when running skill damage commanders. Even if you're not going to run Guan Skippy, something like Skippy Honda is better. Skippy Ragnar is better. Skippy Liu Che is better. Liu Che Alex is better. Liu Che Wallace is better. Guan Yu's time is over in the meta. He's not meta anymore. There's a few viable pairings that you can still use as we went over in this video, but that's really only for older players who have those commanders at a usable spot or at least maxed. This has been Lizard Jesus. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'm out.